All right, everybody, hold on to your handbags. Before anybody goes and cancels me, let me explain what I actually meant when some people the other night during my live chat thought that I was saying that women shouldn't be police officers. Before we get started here, I want to remind everyone to subscribe and sign up for all notifications on this channel. This channel is restricted by YouTube, so I'm counting on you to help us survive YouTube's anti-2A bias. Hey everybody, Yankee here. The other night in my live chat, I said something that made some people think that I didn't think women were suited to be police officers, and that DEI hires of women to be police officers was one of the things contributing to the downfall of law enforcement. Now, what I actually said in that chat was that women should never be police officers. So I guess I actually did say what some people are pissed off thinking I said. Because here's the thing. I actually believe that 100%. And it's not a sexist opinion. I don't mind the fact that they're female. What bothers me is that it's more costly than having a male officer, usually twice as costly, and it's more dangerous in some ways than having a male officer. And they just can't do the job in a lot of circumstances. Now, if this wasn't a beat cop, someone that didn't have to go out on the street, maybe they did clerical work or supervising work or call center work, that's fine. But as far as cops out on the street, women are just not suited for that job. At least not most of them. Now, if there are some big, burly, butch women, like women from Arkansas that want to be police officers, fine. That would be perfectly fine with me. That's like putting a bear in a uniform. And they'll probably be able to do the job. But the vast majority of women just can't. When you start hiring women officers based solely on DEI in some circumstances, you end up with officers like this one. And if you're not familiar with Miss Jackson here, you should look into her. She definitely should not be a police officer. But it's not just women like this. It's just the fact that they can't physically do the job. It's not that they're just, brain dead sluts like some of them, like Miss Jackson. It's that they can't physically do it. And like I said, it is more expensive because if you pay attention, most departments won't let women go solo. Whenever there's women officers on the beat, it's two of them. They put two in a car, they put two on the street. Always. And that's twice the money to do the same job a male officer does. So right there, I don't think it's feasible. The taxpayer shouldn't be paying twice as much money for someone to do the job. That just doesn't make sense. If they're going to be doing the job, they should be able to do everything the men can, and that means be on their own sometimes, be able to handle physical situations without there being multiples of them, or having to have a male cop with them, or 2 or 3 female cops. I've seen them put 3 female cops in a car before. That's just ridiculous. That wastes taxpayers' money. They can't physically do the job. If they can physically do the job, well, then they can go out one at a time, then that is something I'm not too concerned about, but that is not the majority. That doesn't happen very often. In fact, almost never. So that's one of the main problems I have with them, just the fact that they can't physically do the job. Police officers have to get physical. They have to take people to the ground sometimes. They have to detain people. And female officers aren't really usually suited for that. And because of that, because they're not suited to handle someone physically one-on-one, a male suspect, well, they tend to be a little aggressive. I'm looking at this from a psychologist standpoint here and telling you one of the things I always found to be the biggest problem with female officers is because they have such a physical disadvantage, they end up being, dicks to everybody. And they also tend to be the ones who, instead of controlling and de-escalating a situation, they exacerbate it. They escalate the situation. They come across as pushy and just downright mean. And they do that because they think that that gives them an advantage. And also, because of that limited physical ability and being at a disadvantage physically, I think they're more dangerous to people on the street because they're faster to go for their guns. They're faster to go for tasers. They're faster to go for their regular service weapon. They're just quicker to get physical and to take that physical to an extreme when they can't deal with hand-to-hand. So I just don't think women officers are a good idea. I don't think most of them can do the job. I think it costs more money than it does when you hire a man. I think they're a danger because they tend to jump to extreme violence faster because they have to skip that middle wrestling around part, even when there's two of them often. So that's the reasons I don't think women should be police officers. It's got nothing to do with, it's just the fact that they're a woman, it's just that they're not capable. And I'm not a big opponent of DEI. In situations where it makes sense, let's say certain people have been excluded from jobs for no reason other than the color of their skin or whatever, I'm fine with DEI. But when you're giving jobs to people that just aren't qualified because of DEI, that's a problem. Now, I'm not saying DEI really ruined policing. The government did that. When they started turning them into their own private army of jackbooted thugs who do nothing but follow orders, they ruined policing. But having these women officers, it's just not right. And don't tell me that every one of those women officers that got hired, there weren't 5 men that were more suited for the job, that could have done the job better, done the job of 2 of them better. That's when DEI is a problem, when you're giving jobs to people that they're not suited to do and not giving it to the people who are suited to do it. Although most of the people they want to hire nowadays aren't suited to be police officers. They're more prison guards than they are police officers. But that's why I said what I said, and that's what I meant. Has nothing to do with being a woman. I think a woman can do most things as good as a man, if not better. But definitely they can remember things longer if you did something wrong. But when it comes to physicality, when it comes to being aggressive, when it comes to controlling a situation, and when it comes to just being cost effective on the streets as a police officer, women just can't do that as well as men. And that's why I said women, in most cases, shouldn't be cops.
Spectamus fructus qui, sed non